another video. I hope you have been keeping very well. Today I thought I would just show you everything that I am eating in a day as a vegan. I've been vegan almost 8 years now. I feel like these 8 years have literally like completely flown by, but today I'm just going to show you a few delicious things that I really love making when I'm at home. Okay, let's get into breakfast. I made some homemade bagels earlier this week. They are literally so yummy. I'll leave the recipe that I use down below, and I am just gonna have like an avo bagel moment for breakfast, which is one of just my go-tos, but I'm gonna make it a little bit fancy today and use the time that I have this morning to add a little bit of extra flavor to it. I was actually listening to a podcast recently of a netballer who is from the UK and living in Australia, and she was saying how it's so funny how Australians are just like obsessed with avocado on toast, and it had me thinking, like, I think that is like so normal. I have avo toast like so often, but I would love to know if it's something that is common where you live, because to me it feels like the obvious thing that I'm going to be able to eat at pretty much any cafe that I go to, and it's also my favorite breakfast to have at home as well. Anyway, let's get into making this yummy breakfast. Okay, I'm about to get into making some lunch. First things first, I'm having a kombucha. You know how much I love drinking a kombucha whilst I make myself lunch. This is my favorite at the moment, finger lime strawberry. It's so good. I think it's like a locally made, maybe it's made on the Sunshine Coast. So yes, it's made on the Sunshine Coast. I tried it for the first time at the beginning of this year. It's really, really delicious. I get it from my local health food store, so that is the best place that I would recommend looking for it, or I have seen it at some IGAs and stuff here in Australia as well. Anyway, let's get into making lunch. We are making my favorite sweet chili tofu rice bowl. Okay, so obviously the hero of our sweet chili tofu bowl are these sweet chili tofu nuggets. If you are trying to get into tofu, trust me, I used to hate tofu so much, and these are one of the first tofu products that I ever really truly enjoyed, so I definitely recommend giving them a crack. I've also got some avocado and cucumber, which I'm going to serve in my rice bowl, as well as some cabbage, spinach and carrot, which I'm going to make kind of like a slaw situation that I like to make in this bowl. And then of course I have some rice, which we're going to start by putting that rice on. Alrighty, let's get into assembling this delicious rice bowl. All of the ingredients I've prepared today are to serve two, so that I can enjoy one for lunch today and then have one for later in the week when I inevitably can't be bothered cooking at some point. I'm really excited. This was really quick to prepare, and it's going to be a really fresh and delicious lunch. So with the rice for this bowl, I want it to have a little bit of extra kind of flavor, I guess, and also a little bit of extra texture as well. So what I like to do is transfer it into a bowl. Wow, that is a lot of rice, Amanda. This is what happens when I always just guess with my rice. So into my rice, I like to add in some sesame seeds as well as some rice wine vinegar, and then of course some sesame oil. Okay, so I'm serving my lunch in this gorgeous bowl, which is like my favorite bowl to use and to eat out of. Starting with some rice, then adding in some of this slaw situation, then adding in my sweet chili tofu, which is looking very well cooked, as well as some cucumber and some avocado. Now sometimes with this rice bowl I like to add on a little bit of coriander or a drizzle of mayo or something like that, but today I'm just going to leave it at this. It's looking very, very delicious, and that tofu in particular just looks so good. There's a nice close-up of the bowl for you. Wow, it's just so vibrant. Something so satisfying about eating vibrant foods. Can't explain it. If you're interested in trying this recipe out, it is linked below. It is on my website, amandadux.com, as are loads of other delicious vegan recipes. If you're ever looking for some plant-based recipe inspiration, definitely head over there and check it out. A big thank you as well to Squarespace, who have sponsored this video, and I also host and design my website using Squarespace. I've been using it for literally years now and find it to be the most user-friendly platform to use, and I have never ever considered using anything else because it is just that good. If you're in the food blogging space like me and you want a place to be able to share recipes and keep all of your blog posts in the same format as well as schedule them at specific times, then Squarespace is definitely the one for you because it allows you to do all of that. As well as that, you can link all of your social media in the one place and very easily set up an online store as well, whether that be for digital or physical products. If you're ever interested in creating or designing your own website, you can head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/AmandaDux and use my code AmandaDux, which will get you 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. All right, I am diving into my lunch now. I will catch up with you this afternoon, and we are going to make something that you definitely don't want to miss. So if you're new to my YouTube channel, there are a couple of things that you should definitely know about me. The first one is I absolutely love baking, and I love making sweetie treaties, hence why we're gonna make something delicious today. But the second thing is that I also really enjoy living a balanced vegan lifestyle and eating a balanced vegan diet. And I know that the word balance gets thrown around online and like wellness culture and stuff like that so very much, but to define how I view balance as enjoying food for the way that it makes me feel and the nourishment and the nutrients that it can give my body to feel its best, but as well as that, enjoying food for the pleasurable thing that it is. And what I mean by that is like the fact that food is delicious, and as well as that, the fact that food is something that can be shared with people that you love and is something to really connect over. So that's what I view having like a balanced vegan diet as, and I have taken some years to like get to like this space that I'm in now, but I feel really, really good now, like honoring all of those parts of food that I personally think are really important. Anyway, today we're gonna make some chocolate macadamia brownies. I haven't made brownies in a couple of months, and it just felt like it was time to do so. So let's get into making them. So I start by preheating my oven to 180 degrees Celsius, fan forced, and then into a small bowl I mix some flaxmeal with some water to make our flax eggs. I leave that to sit for a couple of minutes, and I also melt some choc buttons over the heat. You can also do this in a microwave if you have one, until it is nice and silky and smooth. Then into a mixing bowl I put my vegan butter or margarine, as well as some coconut sugar, the flax eggs, as well as some vanilla and some maple syrup. Once that's all in there, I mix it together, ensure not to create too much mess like I definitely did, and then I add in that melted chocolate and I continue mixing this until it is really nice and smooth, as you can see. From here I then add in some flour, making sure to sift this in. I also add in some cocoa powder as well as some salt and some baking powder. Then I am mixing this together, ensuring not to overmix it, and once it's mixed well I add in my extra chocolate buttons or chocolate chips as well as macadamias or another nut if you prefer, and then I once again mix this together, ensuring not to overmix it. Then I transfer it into a square baking dish that I've lined with baking paper, spread it all evenly, and then pop in the oven to bake for about 30 minutes. Once it's done, I leave it to cool and then cut it into 12 even delicious brownie pieces. Now that is a very delicious chocolate macadamia brownie. I will leave the recipe down in the description box if you want to try it out at home. So for dinner tonight, I am going to make one of my favorite dinners to make, and also one of my boyfriend's favorite dinners. It's pretty much always the request. I'm gonna make a creamy vegetable and tofu ramen. You guys have also been asking for this recipe for a little while, so hopefully this will sort of clear things up with how I make it. It's honestly so easy. I'm very new to a lot of Asian cooking, so I keep it pretty simple, but yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. It's packed full of flavor and also feels really good to eat. I start by cutting up a brown onion. I'm going to use half of this, and I'm just cutting it and dicing it finely before putting it into a saucepan with some rice bran oil and frying it up for a few minutes. Then I add in some ginger and I continue frying this up for a few minutes. This is how we're making the broth, by the way. So then I'm adding in some water as well as some oat milk. You can use soy if you would like to, as well as some soy sauce and some veggie stock powder. And I continue to mix this and leave it to boil away and get nice and hot. Then I'm prepping my veggies, so just cutting up some broccolini as well as some pak choy, and I get some fresh corn off the cob. You can use canned if you would prefer to. And then I get some of this fried tofu, puff tofu, which is my favorite, and cut it into pieces so it's able to soak up all of that broth flavor. Into my frying pan I add in some rice bran oil as well as the broccolini, the tofu and the corn, and I'm going to start frying this up. You can add some salt and pepper here as well if you would like to. I fried this up for like 15 minutes before adding in my pak choy and just frying up for an extra 2 minutes. So when it comes to serving, I start with some ramen noodles, and then I like to put some sesame oil onto the ramen noodles. I then add on my broth. I just evenly distribute it. You're gonna have these chunks of onion in it as well, which I personally love. Then I add on the veggies and the tofu as well as some sesame oil. My boyfriend then also likes to have some chili oil. I personally do not. And then some sesame seeds to finish it off. Oh, Eva's gone up in a little thing. Hi, sweetie. Hey, sweetie. She's so cute. And so that is my delicious tofu and veggie ramen. I'm very excited to dive into this for dinner. As always, thank you so much for being here and for supporting my channel. Hope you got some yummy recipe ideas from this video. Hope you have a very beautiful week, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye!